Flashback montage. So recently I ran my car into a tree stump. I decided to do the work myself. Since I was planning to do the repairs, I decided I might as well put some upgrades on the car while I'm at it. One of those upgrades was going to be a base plate, which would allow me to tow my car behind the RV. The process was long. It wasn't easy. I ran into a few mistakes, but the car is now equipped with a base plate. And now it's time to get the rest of the accessories so I can finally flat tow my car. If you're new here to the Stizzy Chronicles, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I do have a special announcement that I will be sharing, so be sure to stay to the very end. Here on this channel, I just take you along as I enjoy life on the fly while also living full-time in my 30-foot RV. One way I keep expenses down while living in an RV is volunteering as a work camper. Currently, I'm volunteering on private property. And before I hit the road to get my new RV toys, I gotta get some things done on the property just to make sure that rent is paid for. The chickens are taken care of, the fish on the property are taken care of, but now I gotta make sure I'm taken care of. Let's go ahead and check the liquids before we hit the road. Now I trust the mechanic that I went to, but it doesn't hurt to be safe. I also want to take time out to give a special shout out to our viewer Kim D, who has been a great help in the process of getting the car fixed. She also helped sponsor this video today. Next up, before we hit the road, it's time to put some food in our bellies. We got to get the fur babies taken care of, and we also got to get ourselves taken care of. Recently, I went to a farmer's market because I'm trying to be more intentional about where I spend my money and what I put in my body. I got myself some veggies. Be sure to check the links in the description if you haven't seen the videos already. One of the things that I opted to try was learning how to clean my vegetables properly, and then going a step further by learning how to blanch them so the surplus could be stored in a freezer so nothing would go bad. Well, the process took much longer than I expected. It was much more involved than I expected. Probably won't be doing it again, but I am going to enjoy the vegetables that I did clean and freeze while I can. I checked the liquids 11 times, but of course the thing that gives me trouble before I need to hit the road is the battery. Now I have taken weeks to repair my car, so it has been sitting for a few months. The battery is mature. I've had it for quite a few years, so I'm not too upset that I'm having battery issues. What makes it even easier is having this car charger. Unfortunately, it's not mine. It's the person that I'm staying with. But they were smart enough to have me put it in my trunk and keep it with me just in case I had trouble. Due to the unexpected car trouble, my little adventure must be delayed, but only temporarily, just long enough to get the battery charged. Time to hit the road. We are finally road ready, and it's also time for me to explain why I drove 6 hours for a tow bar. Well, the simple explanation is tow bars are expensive, and I found one that was in my price point. I found it pre-owned on Facebook Market, but it required me to drive to Opelousas, Louisiana in order to acquire it. And there's the welcome to Louisiana sign. Now let's go back to talking about flat towing the car and the cost that comes with it. First, I had to decide on a base plate that was compatible with my vehicle. We on a budget, so I went with the cheapest thing that was available, which just so happens to be a Demco base plate. With the Demco base plate, I can purchase off-brand such as Blue Ox or Roadmaster. However, I would have to purchase an adapter, and adapters are expensive, so I opted to stick with Demco. With the base plate that I had, the Victory Series tow bars were compatible, but purchasing new was not in my budget, so that's why I decided to go pre-owned. Now, with me not knowing very much about base plates and tow bars, I was nervous because I don't know what to look for when purchasing a pre-owned tow bar, but you know how I do. Cross my fingers and hope for the best. So we made it to our destination. Meetup is complete, and now I have my tow bar. I don't know what I was expecting as far as how heavy it was going to be, but it definitely is heavy. It was two of us. It was me and another lady. who had to carry it into my trunk. Hopefully I can get this thing moved around by myself when it's time to actually get it on the RV. It is a little dirty, but that's okay. All right, I don't care about that. I will clean it off, and then I watched a few videos on how I can clean it and lube up these whatever the arms, so it'll look kind of like new. I mean, that's still not even a concern of mine. What's the concern is how much it costs, and I prefer this price point than what it would be if I had to buy it new. Since my battery had died on me quite a few times, I was stressed. I was stressed the whole 3-hour drive up, and I did not want to stress on the way back, so I went and got my battery tested. No surprise, it was bad, so I had to purchase a new one. And as an amateur mechanic, you know I could have put the battery in the car myself, but that's a free service, so I took advantage of that. The next stop before heading back to Mississippi was to pick up some additional accessories. I needed some replacement parts for the tow bar and towing lights for my car. I heard about the clearance aisle here in Harbor Freight, so I had to go check that out. But luckily they don't have anything that I want, so I won't spend money over there. But they have a whole area for trailer accessories. So that seems like that would be the good place, or the best place for me to go, considering my needs. And while I'm here, I also need to actually get some lights that will, towing lights. That's what I need. I need a towing light kit. I didn't do the whole hooking it up with the car and all that other stuff. No, I want something where I can transfer from one car to the next, just in case I change my car at some point. I don't want to be stuck or upset because I have to buy everything all over again. Now with those pins I need two, but what I'm trying to do is first test to see if it's the size that I need before I buy a second one. And then I'm also like, this specifically says hitch pin with clip. I don't know exactly what a hitch pin is, but I just hope that they don't, it's not intended for like vertical installations, because I need to use it horizontally. But we gotta see if it'll fit in these holes. And do, it's a little tight though. That's probably a good thing. Can I put it this way? Gotta work it in there. Then the little pin, I just gotta figure out which side I'm gonna put it in, because that's gonna have the cable. I guess I can put it in that way. I think this will do. Now I go buy a second one. So I now have both my pins that'll connect the base plate and the tow bar. I also have the tow light kit now. So this is magnetic. I just attach it to the car somewhere, and the 4-pin system is what it connects with, which is exactly what I set my RV up with based off the U-Haul towing situation. So I'm about to be a flat tower. Oh my goodness. Now I really do love me some Harbor Freight, because the price of these online through Demco was like $25-30. Here was just $5. And then the price to set your car up with tow lights, I don't even know, but I know it's too much. I know I looked it up and was like, never mind. This is, I think, a better option, because if I ever change my car, these lights can just come and go with me. I done did enough DIY projects. I'm ready for the easy stuff. Now I'm about to go to Lowe's, get some gas, let the babies walk around, hydrate them, then head back to Mississippi. Okay, that started up with no problems. Thank the goodness. tired. It is 11:24. That trip definitely lasted a little longer than I anticipated. Now, although I did plan to leave a little bit late so I could avoid traffic, I didn't necessarily plan to leave as late as I did. I think with the tow bar not having all the pieces, and of course worrying about the battery, I definitely lost a lot of time. I even wanted to do something with the dogs while we were out there. They just had to settle for walking around the Loves area. I'm definitely not even going to bother unpacking the car. Anything that was purchased for the RV can stay here. I don't need it right now. Since I'm getting home so late, I'm not even going to get the trash. Today was trash day, and one of my responsibilities is taking the trash out, bringing it back. That's going to have to wait till tomorrow. Shoot, I'm even probably in a little bit of trouble. I'm not in trouble, but I kind of feel bad because since I came home so late, I couldn't even put the chickens up. Usually I make sure, well, they put themselves up, but I at least lock the cage to make sure nothing snatches them in the middle of the night. It was super late when I actually was like, oh crap. It was like 8:21. And I realized like, oh crap, I gotta make sure the chickens are okay. So I text the person that I'm staying with. I text them like, can you please lock them up? I'm still in Louisiana. And later on, you know, he was like, okay, I got you. But next time, tell me earlier. I'm like, oh, I know. So sad. I'm just ashamed. Now to the announcement, or at least some of the announcement. So if you haven't guessed already, I will be relocating again. That is one reason why I wanted to get the tow bar. Now, of course, I always wanted to put a base plate on the car itself, so I didn't have to deal with always renting something in order to have it towed behind me. But getting the tow bar was something that wound up being pushed forward. With Mississippi, I didn't have like an end date. However, I did have an engagement for 2026. But an opportunity has presented itself, and I'm going to take advantage of that opportunity. So I will be leaving coastal Mississippi. So that is the little announcement that I had. Now, as far as where I'm going and what I'm doing, oh, well, you got to stay tuned for that. I'm not going to share everything just yet. But I do appreciate you joining me on this little quick road trip, this little turnaround trip. Hope you enjoyed yourself. If you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting that button. And I will see you next time.